All right, welcome back to another episode of Screen the Screener. I'm just fixing my watch, as usual. I'm Steve Mensch. That's Tyler Besman. I don't know how it is on your screen. He's the little one. Tyler Besman's the little one. I don't know if he's on your left or right. And Virgie Matt Solso in the Colts hat. This is the first time we're doing this. It's a little weird. I'm
Yeah.
excited to do it virtually because I think it's going to be better for social clips, but the energy's not the same right now. So we're going
Yeah.
to have to see how it works. All right, Matt, I want to I'm like, it's a big Matt pod. I'm getting into it right away
Woo!
with you because I am freaking annoyed with a national take right now, or semi-national take, because I don't know how many people are watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. Let's get into it, okay? Peyton Manning. We're going to start with Peyton Manning, the sheriff. Omaha. Peyton Manning. On
Spiderweb banana.
July 30th, 2011, Peyton Manning signs a 5-year, $90 million extension with the Colts. The next year, his neck basically falls apart. That year, actually, I think his neck falls apart. He has a neck surgery, has to go back in and get a second one in September. It's not good. But at that time, he had 4 MVPs, and he was 1-1 in the Super Bowls for the Colts. I mean, he's a legend. He was every bit the legend that he is. So they decide to release him in 2012 because they know they have the first overall pick, and Andrew Luck is coming out. How did you feel about Peyton Manning going to another team? Were you okay with it because it was time to move on and he was not the same player that he was? At the time, he wasn't playing as well, but obviously it was because of the neck injury. Or were you like, this doesn't feel right?
I was okay with it. He had done a bunch. He brought us a Super Bowl, which is all we can really ask for. He had served us well, and he was at the tail end of his career, and being in the AFC, we weren't going to beat Tom Brady anymore with him. So I was like, you know what? Thank you very much, but we've got I'm ready to move on to the next, which was Andrew Luck, and what a way to luck into luck. Because we knew at that point you were going to get Andrew Luck. So I knew that the next heir apparent was there. So I was okay with that managerial decision. And I was okay with him going to Denver. I have no problems with Denver. If he had gone to, say, New England.
That's what I want to know. Hold on.
If he had gone to New England, I would have felt a lot different about it.
Okay, thank you. That's what I want to get to eventually. But did it bother you, even though when he went to Denver, he went to 2 Super Bowls and won one?
No, I was happy for him. I was rooting for him.
Okay.
Because it meant that Tom Brady wasn't winning, so that's why I was okay with it.
So if he had somehow, right, I guess that's true. If he had somehow ended up on the Patriots, which I know there's no real...
It wouldn't have happened, so it's a moot conversation.
Hypothetical. It's not a moot conversation, I'll tell you why. Hypothetically, if he had gone to a contender, let's say if he had gone to, not say the Patriots, let's say he went to Houston, and Houston went to 2 Super Bowls, and if he had the same run with Houston, would you have been mad?
I wouldn't have been as happy. I don't think I would have been mad.
Okay.
How's
Tyler,
that?
Tom Brady. What's that?
How's that? I wouldn't have been happy about it because I don't want Houston's in my division, and I don't want my division to succeed.
Right. I just want people to understand when Matt says he's not happy, that's like me being raging pissed. Like that's when Matt's like slightly unhappy, like he's really mad. That's like really angry for Matt. So understand there's a sliding scale here.
Yeah.
Ty, how did you feel about Tom Brady?
I was pretty pissed about Brady, but I also knew that it wasn't like his fault. Like it was in his best interest to leave the Crafts. And leave Bill. So I was
right.
Pissed,
but were you
but
like, I hope he goes? You're like, I hope he goes to Tampa and wins Super Bowls.
Hell no, I didn't like watching him go to the Super Bowl. I was like, I can't root for Kansas City, but like I don't really want to root for Brady and Gronk in a new location on a stacked team. So. But similar to Matt, I'm happy that it was Tampa and it wasn't like the Jets or the Bills or Miami or whatever. So I'm happy it was Tampa, but at the same time, like that did suck. And honestly, Pats fans that rooted for it, it's losers.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing though, because you have Bill Belichick here who ran Tom out of town, and so there may have been a portion of Pats fans that was like, I hope Brady wins that Bill is wrong. And, kind of to stick it to Bill.
Yeah. There was a lot of those. Yeah.
No, you don't stick it to Bill.
The one thing I did hate about it, though.
Go ahead.
The half and half jerseys. The half Patriots Brady jersey and the half Tampa Brady jersey. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it's like started to go into like other sports, and I've seen like other teams do it. And I'm like, that is atrocious. Even the college one where it's like a Tatum Duke half and Boston half. I hate those jerseys. I can't stand
What's worse? First of all, Mama Kelsey can do it. The moms can do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moms can wear whatever gear they want to whatever they want to wear. I love it when I see Mama Kelsey wearing the splits. That's great.
Yep.
That's fine by me. That's totally understandable. What's worse, the split jersey or when someone gets a Celtics jersey with their name on the back and a number?
That's a really good question.
It is. I mean, that's a great debate. I mean,
I think so. I'll say this: if you get your name on the back, but you get like number 99, like I guess I'm okay with that. But if you get your name on the back and you get 0, and like Tatum's number, like what are we doing? And I've seen people do that. Then I think if you're a grown man and doing that, a little weird. But
yes,
I think it's a little weird if you're a grown man doing that. But at the same time, I think the split jersey is worse than putting your name on the back of your sports team.
And as a parent, don't let your kid do it.
Yeah, you'll get bullied.
Also, Patriots fans that wanted to stick it to Bill for Tom leaving aren't Patriots fans; they're Tom Brady fans. And like, I get it. To all the stuff that Tom Brady did for the team, I get it. But Gary. We should have Gary on the show because Gary. I feel like he was trolling me with all the Brady stuff. Wearing the Brady, he had the Bucks Brady jersey. When I started to see Bucks Brady jerseys at Foxborough, I was like, "What are we doing here? Like, what is this?"
Parents ended up getting like Bucks season tickets and was like watching Tom and was like
they live in
following
Florida.
the Bucks.
They probably weren't hardcore Pats fans. They live in Florida. Go for it. Like, go enjoy that. Good for you if you're a Bucks fan. I'm not mad at them.
Though.
Yeah,
they're New England
weird.
They moved down there like when Brady moved down there.
And I'm taking a kind of a roundabout way because this is what I wanted to get to. Matt, what's coming? Tell me what's coming.
Marshy and the Panthers.
Why is everyone so happy for freaking Brad Marchand and the Panthers? Why are they so excited for him to do well on a team that ended like the team that had the most points in NHL history and ended that run in the first round of the freaking playoffs and then beat the Bruins in the playoffs again last year? And, look at Marshy go. Look at him go, man. Isn't it awesome? No, it sucks. It sucks. Like, I hate this Panthers team. And the idea that we should be happy for Brad Marchand, who, by the way, let's talk about it real quick. Brad Marchand, all-time Bruin. Love Brad Marchand. If I met him in person, I don't know how well I behave. I'd be so grateful to meet the guy and so excited about it. So like, I don't want this to get twisted, like, cause he's awesome. I love Brad Marchand. He's awesome. But just a couple things about the hero that is Brad Marchand all of a sudden in that series, that 2023 series. Do you remember what his plus minus was, Matt?
I do not.
I'll tell you, it was -6. It was -6 for the series, -2 in game 6, -2 in game 7. Had the series on his stick, and I think game 5.
It did, with 2 seconds left.
On a breakaway with 2 seconds left, and he hits the boards, I think. I don't even think he got it on net.
Yeah, he was wide high on the glove side.
Didn't even get it on net. That's our guy, man. That's the guy that everyone in Bruins Nation wants to be so happy for. The same guy in 2019 in game 7 against the Blues, Matt, you probably remember this play, right? End of the first period. Brad Marchand gives the weakest effort ever on a check and skates for a line change with 14 seconds left in the period. Blues go up 2-0. That's it. They win 4-1. We lose that Stanley Cup. Why all of a sudden is there all this love for Brad Marchand to make a run with the Panthers team that has basically ruined what the Bruins are? And we've all said this before. It has ruined the last 2 seasons for the Bruins. We've said this before. Marchand is the definition of the guy you don't want to play against, but you want on your team. Well, guess what? He's not on our team anymore. So I'm not sure why people who are like I saw this thing about Bergeron supporting him. I get that. That's your friend. That's your former teammate. I understand that. That's different. The guy that went to all these games for the Bruins and is now like, I hope Marchand gets a cup. Why? Can you guys explain it to me?
No,
Matt, you
because
got it.
they like. I mean, it's this. It's. I think it's a fair analogy to the Brady thing. You were annoyed when people rooted for Brady over the Pats. You're allowed to be annoyed for people rooting for Marchand over the and the Panthers over getting a cup. I'm rooting for the Oilers. I want the Oilers to win.
Yes.
Same.
I don't have quite the vitriol that you have about it. But I don't want the Panthers to win again. I don't want like back-to-back cups. No. Kachuk to get another cup. No. Sam Bennett. Why don't you fall into the goalie one more time? This is not. I mean, it's the brand of hockey they play, and it's legal, but I don't like it.
Listen, I understand. We're going to get into that in 1 second. I understand this is not the same thing, but when you saw Kachuk and his brother playing for the American team in Four Nations, I wasn't like, oh, I hate that guy. I was like, I didn't root for him, but I was like, I want the United States to win this thing. I wasn't like, oh, look, Connor McDavid's like, oh, look, Marchand's on the Canadian team. Let's root for Canada, man. Why would you do that? It's not like club and country, man. What's your club? What's your country? My club's the Bruins. It's not Brad Marchand. It's just not. And again, awesome player for the Bruins. Awesome player for the Bruins. All that stuff doesn't change.
Well, could you root for him for the first two rounds so that they get to the Eastern Conference Finals and we get that first round draft pick?
Of course I was, because that was going to help us.
Okay. So there are caveats to it as long as there's a benefit to the club.
Dude, if he was playing for the Oilers right now, I'd be like, let's go.
So you're rooting for Trent Frederick.
Yeah, I am rooting for Trent Frederick, who, by the way, is getting roughed up. Getting dirty with Trent Frederick out there. Which, by the way, all right, go ahead.
But to the Brady sort of comparison, it is pretty similar, though, because it feels like a lot of the fans that are rooting for Brad is trying to stick it to the Bruins and stick it to the Bruins front office of like, look at what you kind of let go. I mean, it's more me looking from the outside in of being a Bruins fan, but like that's what it feels like to me when I see Brad out there and seeing him score a goal in the last game, the game-winning goal, and then seeing him score the first goal the other night. Like it just feels like he's playing with a fire because he's trying to stick it to the Bruins organization. And so I think there's fans behind that as well that are rooting for him to do that because they're upset with the Bruins front office.
Well, that's a stupid reason because him doing well does not stick it to the. They just signed Sweeney for an extension, so it had the opposite effect.
Right. And here's the thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, aren't you glad that he traded him?" And we've had this talk. I'm glad that they got what they got for him. Like that on paper is great, but Don Sweeney's going to mess it up. We talked about that trade. We talked about like new leadership. When that trade happened, we kind of felt like Don Sweeney wasn't going to be making the picks. So if I know that Don Sweeney's making the picks and they're probably going to blow it, and I hope I'm wrong about it, and I'm probably going to blow it, I wish they hadn't traded him. Just keep him. If you're just going to get another bad player, why does Brad Marchand have to leave? Why does Brad Marchand have to go to Sunrise, Florida, and help those pricks win another cup? Like, well, I don't get that.
I wonder how much of it is situational, right? Because he's playing on the third line at Florida. He was our first line left winger. So if he was playing first line minutes in Florida, I don't think he would be nearly as productive. It's because he's an extreme talent playing against the Oilers third line, which is not nearly as good. So he's able to elevate and produce.
I agree, and that is an excellent point. I don't think he ever would have taken that role here. I think he was too proud to do it, but he'll go somewhere else and do it.
Well, he was better than everybody else on the team. He is a third line player on the Panthers, maybe a second line player, but he's not a first line player. He's not better than Bennett, and he's not better than Barkov, and he's not better than Reinhart. He's not. But on the Bruins, it was him and Pasta. Those were our two best forwards.
True, but I it is a sound point. It's not enough for me. Let's stay on the Marchand thing because it leads into another question. I do want to get into the series because the series is getting interesting to me. But let's stay on Marchand, and I want to get your take, Tyler, on this. And I want to come in again where I kind of I'm talking about something else, and then this might be my new thing. Like it's going to sound like
I dig it.
One of those PBS pods where I come in like, what happened on this time? So this might be my new technique. Competitive advantage in sports, right? You want to try to eliminate them as much as possible. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's why you have steroid policies. Basically, that's why you have steroid policies. That's why you have a cap. If you have a cap, that's why you all decide you're going to do a cap, right?
Mhm.
There was an article about Marchand. Do you agree that we should try to get rid of competitive advantages? Do you think that they should be gone as much as possible? Like the torpedo bat. Should they allow the torpedo bat, or should they make a rule to get rid of it, or should everyone start using it? Whatever. It either should be allowed by everyone or not, no one at all, right?
Yeah.
I actually think the torpedo bat is a bad example because I don't mind if you progress and you find an edge within the rules, right?
Yeah.
But if something's giving someone a clear competitive advantage and another team can't do it, that's a problem. We all agree.
Yeah, I feel like tush push is an example too. Like
No,
people are upset about it.
Oh, okay.
There's teams that have like perfected it, like the Eagles and the Bills do a good job with it, but then teams that suck with it, like
The Colts
Patriots,
with
for
Jacoby
example.
Brissett had a great tush push. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and so that's where like you don't take away that competitive advantage.
Whenever we
Yeah,
got
take
close
that
to
away,
the
You
end
leave
zone.
that there.
Yeah. 4th and 1. Here comes Jacoby.
Basically, everybody.
So that
do
being
it.
said, Marchand was asked about re-signing in Florida. And he came out and said, you know, if it comes down to a few teams, the fact that Florida doesn't have an income tax would play into it. I think, this is my argument, that states with no income tax have a clear competitive advantage when it comes to signing players. I think there's no bigger competitive advantage. Money talks. Money gives you the greatest advantage. I'd love to see the numbers. I'm not a math guy about what the adjusted caps would be for income tax. Like if you're looking at what Florida can spend versus, or what Florida can give its players, what the players would receive without the income tax, and what a team like the Rangers or the Ducks, California, New York, higher tax rates. Am I right, Matt? I
Yes,
feel like those
and
are higher
well,
tax
just
rates.
go straight Canada, U.S. Canada's taxes are way higher than the U.S. And there are
the
players
value
that
of-
won't go to Canada because of that tax problem.
So we're talking about a clear competitive advantage. My proposal is you adjust caps to account for income tax in the area that these players are in. Thoughts?
I like it. How come it doesn't matter in basketball and in football?
Oh, I want it in every sport.
I know, but I'm saying it. So I guess what I'm saying is that, do you think that competitive advantage is so high that those teams have an abnormally large amount of championships or success?
I do not have the numbers to back it up, but I do feel like that. Tyler,
Because
do you
I
have
don't
that?
think
Do you have
Texas
that
has an
in
income
your back
tax and
pocket?
their teams suck.
Do
I
they?
have it in my back
The
pocket?
San Antonio Spurs went for 2 decades. They were the best team in the NBA. The Spurs had an
Yeah,
outrageous run.
But so it. I mean, I don't know what like.
But so did
The
Chicago.
Mavericks won.
when the Celtics were winning for 2 decades. I don't know what the tax was back then, but like
But they
Boston
were playing,
has been a really
they were
hard
playing
place
plumbers,
for free.
Tyler. They were playing plumbers.
They were playing plum. They were. But also
There were
like
7 teams in the league, guy.
like the concept of what you're thinking, it like makes sense. I just don't think it would be like that easy to really implement, especially because with
I
the
could implement
cap,
it tomorrow.
no way.
Yes,
No
why
way.
not? Why not? Here's what we
my
know
immediate,
is that
my immediate reaction is just based off of like the market for players. So you have Joe Burrow signing that giant contract, and then we have Drake May, where we have a larger cap, let's say, because our income tax is higher in Massachusetts than wherever Cincinnati.
right.
So let's say, I'm just going to throw out numbers because I don't know what it is. Let's say Joe Burrow signed for 40 mil, and then Drake May, because we have a giant cap compared to the Bengals, signs for 43 mil. Now it kind of, the market's a little all over the place for players. So that's my immediate thought.
You just agents would have to do it on percentage of cap. That's how they would have to do that to set their
Okay.
markets for their
All
players.
right, counterpoint. Chris Godwin chose to sign for less money in Florida than more money in New England.
Yes. Well, that's a specific player.
It probably would have made the same.
I'm
to be
saying,
honest.
what I'm saying is all things being equal. If everything is equal, that's what Brad Marchand was saying. Chris Godwin's looking at this and be like, I don't really know if I want to go up and play there for that team in the situation that they're in, where I'm in Tampa, and I kind of like what I got going with Baker Mayfield. I know where I am in this offense, all of those things. Like, he likes his situation.
And warm
already.
weather.
Marchand saying, if I got 2-3 teams on the table and everything is equal, then I'm going to go where the most money is. And that's what I'm saying. And I would say like, it's easy. Like it is more complicated than this, because my understanding is that if you play road games, I think this is true. Like if you play in LA, you got to pay California taxes for that game. Something like that. Like I think this is true. Like when I travel, I have to pay a certain amount of tax to other states, depending on how long I am, how long I'm there. That's just a thing. But so it's not this simple, but it is relatively, like you just look at it. Let's set the cap at $100, and the income tax rate in Massachusetts is 25%. They get 125. I mean, it doesn't seem that.
Yeah, but tax rates change. So depending on
absolutely
legislation,
they change.
So
you can't tell
what
me
about
all
the
the
lag?
cap. Dude, they have guys from MIT working on their caps in the NFL right now. If this idiot has any can like imagine this, these guys can definitely figure it out. These guys can definitely figure out how to do this. I'm not crazy. Like they can definitely do it. And I think it's true about every sport. Every sport.
I don't think you're crazy.
Yes, Toronto does win in the NBA. Like Kawhi Leonard goes to Toronto and they hit that amazing shot, and things like teams make runs, and there's something magical about that too. There's something magical about that small market team in Toronto. And Toronto's a good example because of the amount of money they do have to pay in taxes that make that run, and you don't want to ruin that. I get that. But at the same time, like, and baseball is the greatest example because their cap is so bad. Like everyone wants to talk about the Celtics playing plumbers. The Yankees, I mean, their payroll compared to the rest of the league for forever has been outrageous. That's why baseball needs a cap. Like,
well, and then Oakland refuses to even spend any money.
Right,
they barely make the minimum cap.
Yeah,
they don't have to. Make them do it.
Now.
Make them do it. Make it a more competitive game. You should just do that. So, and
I don't even want to touch that. Baseball's a mess. Like, I don't even want to touch it. Like, the Dodgers and the Yankees piss me off.
Real quickly, do we have to watch the Red Sox now?
No, I tried to, but it's brutal.
Roman Anthony went.
Roman Anthony's coming up. We got to get excited about that.
I know. I was
the
hyped.
Messiah.
I took him to hit a homer today.
Today?
Yeah,
Dude,
I took him to hit
4 with a walk last night.
I took him to hit a homer yesterday, and now I'm taking him to hit a homer again today.
What's that look like? What are the odds there?
I think it was plus 600, so it was like 5 to win 40.
I don't hate that action.
Yeah, it was a no sweat. So
we might have to cut. We might have to cut this pod early so I can get on the app.
Multitask.
Right, listen, I don't think that's my. Listen, you have not been coming with the hot takes, so I'm coming with the hot takes. I think the Marchand Florida thing. The Marchand Florida thing sucks, and they need to account for income tax for salary caps. Like they just do. Like that's a competitive advantage. Stop talking to me about HGH and all that stuff, and start talking about who's getting paid more money. Like who has more money to spend, right? All right, let's get back into the Stanley Cup Finals. I want to get your take. Ty, did you see any of the debacle that was last night?
The debacle? I don't think so, no.
The 11 penalties on the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh, no. I didn't.
Oh, by the way, these weren't. Oh, that seemed kind of soft. I mean, these were earned. I mean, they were earned. I mean, some of the I haven't seen slashes like that. I don't know.
Cross checks. It was pretty awesome.
If ever,
somebody broke a stick on a cross check on his ribs. It was awesome.
It was well earned.
Slap shot-esque.
They got. Yeah, what Matt texted me at the end of the game because Edmonton was down 6-1, and one of the Oilers took a slap shot from like the defensive dot. To face-off dot to try to like fire it on the goalie. I was like, dude, they are so heated. Corey Perry was trying to fight everyone. They were laughing at him.
Yep.
Here's my unusual take on this. You kind of already hinted at it, Matt. If you want to like quickly describe, I'm going to let you quickly describe the Florida Panthers style of play.
They toe the line. They are agitators. They try to get under your skin. They love to bump the goalie, which is in hockey is the easiest and fastest way to piss off a team and to get a team off their game. If you start bumping in their goal, and they've been doing it the entire playoffs. Bennett is very good at getting touched by a defenseman and then flopping onto the goalie. And 50% of the time he gets a goalie interference, and 50% of the time the goal counts. So he's, it's a reasonable thing to do. And that is not the Oilers style of play at all. And I think they really fed into it last night. And once the Panthers have a lead, they don't have to be agitators anymore. So if you try to instigate with them, all they do is laugh in your face. And it's that like just doubles your frustration on the losing team to say like, I can't do anything to piss you off.
A real Austin Matthews move, like the
yeah.
I'm going to start this fight and then what's going on? I'm going to skate away.
But they pointed it out last night. They were going after all their tough guys, and I'm like, no, go after their stars. You go after Reinhardt. You go after Evan Rodriguez. You go after the guys that don't like the least gritty players on the Panthers. Those are the guys that you go after. You don't go after Marchand. You don't go after Tkachuk. Those two will be happy to banter with you back and forth and feed off of that. But the softer guys, and I don't saying they're soft. I'm saying they're softer than Tkachuk and Bergeron. Those are the guys you go after. And I mean, they were slashing in the back of the legs, which hurts like a mofo because you have no padding on the back of your legs.
None.
And I mean, I had 2-handed slashes to the back of the ankle. Oh, it was just brutal. I mean, they had 11 skaters last night at the end of the game, and they should have 6 defensemen, 9. They should have 15. So 4 guys got kicked out.
Yeah.
Damn.
The bruises the Panthers must have today are insane. And listen, people are going to be like, oh, you support dirty play or whatever. I don't really support dirty play, but I will say this. The narrative of the Oilers having a meltdown and not knowing how to control themselves emotionally, I think is a little overplayed.
Absolutely.
And I also think I think they maybe needed to do this. And I texted you guys about this last night. I think maybe you need to do it. This is the thing. I hear the same thing that you said, Matt, about towing the line, walking the line. To me, I'll just say it, that's bullshit. They're dirty. They get away with dirty stuff. They get away when a guy's stick falls to the ground to kicking it away. They get away with Bennett gets away with cross checks to the back of people's heads because the goalie's not because the refs don't see it, and then the league for some unknown reason doesn't review it. And by the way, our guy Marchand, who missed 2 games when the Panthers were knocking him out last year because Sam Bennett gave him a sneaky punch to the face and he had head injury. Yeah, no, they are dirty. It's not they walk the line. They're not all dirty, by the way, but they got some dirty, dirty guys on that team. And Sam Bennett, yup. Tkachuk, yup. Those guys, they do things like, how about, was it Eklund with the slew foot last night that they called a trip? Ekblad. They called it a trip. It was a slew foot. He came in behind the guy and skated under his legs, under his left skate. Oh, we'll just call that. That'll just be a 2-minute minor for a trip. And then he's going to the bench like, what did I do? What did I do, man? Like, oh, and Marchand, again, my guy Marchand, Evander Kane's got his stick on him. He's like, just got his stick, like kind of checking him. And Marchand does and a lot of guys do it. I know, but he did it where he like knocks Kane's stick up into his face. He's like, oh, high stick. And it's like, dude, you guys are dirty. And then you want to act and turn around like you guys are getting roughed up and all this. And the pity party of, I don't want to hear how dirty the Panthers are after what the Oilers did. And this is my take. I think the league's going to look at that and be like, we don't want that again. We don't need that again. We have one of the most talented skating teams. We have with a generational talent, a true generational talent in Connor McDavid. And I think that league's going to pull in their refs and be like, hey, that's not going to fly. Get it buttoned up. We don't want to see another brawl. We want to see a hockey game. And if that's the case, who does that benefit way more than the other team? Edmonton. So if I'm Edmonton, I actually don't hate it. And if it happens again, do it again. You got to stand up to the bully. Like those guys have been doing it. Even Tkachuk got speared late, and it was dirty. It was a dirty spear. He's holding someone's stick up. If you watch why his ribs are exposed, he's holding someone's stick with his glove. No call. They just don't call it on him. So, it's that pass interference thing that some guys do in football, right? I'm going to commit 15 pass interferences in this game. They'll probably call 5, maybe 7, but I'm going to get away with 8. And that's kind of what their mantra is, and that's what they've been doing. So I actually think the narrative of the Oilers really, lost the game there and they got to regain their composure. I'm not having it. Like, I kind of like it. I kind of like that they were like, no, we're not going to sit around and like just have you take it to us.
I think they realized they weren't going to win that game. They're like, well, we're going to get something out of this.
Exactly.
If we're frustrated, we're going to take our frustration out. And I'll be interested to see how they come out in game 4. And,
it'll be very interesting to see how they...
are they going to be stupid chippy, or are they going to just play their brand of hockey and hope, that the refs catch the dirty crap?
And I hate people who say that, but here I go. I'm going to say it. It feels like this is the series. It feels like Game 4 is the series. And like, because I think if the Oilers win that game and then go back and win 5 in Edmonton, I think they win one of the next 2. I just think they do. I think this is the series. And by the way, I don't know. I think Edmonton in a lot of ways is just the better team. I mean, it's just the better team. The stuff that the way that Florida has to win is crazy to me. I mean, I'm watching Connor McDavid. We talk about Connor McDavid and how talented he is. Just watch him on the power play. They do the exact same thing. If you were a Bruins fan, you know how hard it is to get a clean entry for a power play because we have screwed it up every way we can possibly screw it up. How many times have we talked about it, Matt?
It's so frustrating.
How can you not get an entry into the offensive zone, a clean entry on the power play? And Tyler, I don't know if you know what that means, but it's basically like just being able to set up your power play, right? So
yeah, I play chill.
Get in the zone and get possession.
Yeah, you're a chill guy. You get it.
Yeah.
Every single time. Watch what Edmonton does. You just see 97 curl back around the net. They don't even look anymore. I saw Bouchard last night, Evan Bouchard, the defenseman. He didn't even look. He just flips it back. And 97 skates onto it and like a bat out of hell heads into the offensive zone and can stick handle well enough and pass well enough to when if they don't commit to him hard, he's going to split the defense and just go. And then if they do, he's smart and handles the puck well enough to pass it to someone's open. And next thing you know, they're set up for their power play. It is amazing to watch. Like he does it every single time against a great Florida team. They don't have a defense for it. Now, they defended the power play all right. I'm not saying that. But Edmonton is consistently getting their power plays set up because of how good he is. It's freaking scary. And that doesn't even add in the stick handling, the shooting and all that. And I know he didn't have any points last night. I don't care. He's so good. And I'd rather watch players like that than Sam Bennett walk around with the stone face while he's just hurting people. Like, and the dude has a reputation and somehow is not going to get in trouble with the league about anything. Sorry, I'm hot. Any other takes on the series?
I think you're wrong that the Whalers are the better team because Panthers have the depth, and to win a champion, they've got a better goalie and they've got better depth, and that's what you need to win a championship. So Connor McDavid's going to have to put this on his back, and he and Draisaitl are going to have to go superstar because once they're off the ice, the Panthers take advantage and they score. That's why Brad Marchand on the third line is ruining the series for the Oilers.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I just hate the Panthers. I don't care. So,
well, Bobrovsky's a better goalie than Skinner,
I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm unbiased. I said, this is the team that knocked out the Bruins the last 2 years, and it's like I'm done watching this and being like, oh, can you you got to respect? No, you don't. You got to respect how they walk the line. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, well, the Bruins team that beat Vancouver was a physical team. Yeah.
Here's a question.
That was my team.
Of the two styles of play, Edmonton's style of play of more skilled or the Panthers style of physical, dirty hockey, which would you rather the Bruins play?
Whichever one wins cups. I mean, if they're going to win cups playing, listen, I'm not lying. I'm not.
So that's the physical, dirty one.
Yes. Yeah. How many times have we said this? If Tkachuk was in a Bruins uniform,
yep,
I'd buy him. I'd be the first one to line up and be like, "Hey, welcome to hey, great to have you here, Matt. What can I get you? You want a beer? What do you
trade
need?"
all of our first round picks and pick up Brady Tkachuk from Ottawa.
Oh God, don't even start. You don't want to do that, right?
Not all of them, but if we could, I would trade.
I would love Brady Tkachuk, but I was like, yeah,
Brady Tkachuk's. I don't know if he's under contract or not, but he's 25. So
how awesome would that be to see the brothers going against each other all the time?
And we need like a gritty center like that. That's one thing that we don't have on the team. Like, no disrespect to Zaka and Elias Lindholm, but those guys are not Brady Tkachuk.
The Bruins need some balls, man. They need some balls. Like they've lost that.
And they need balls that aren't Pat Maroon and guys that are 41 and
dude, I love the big rig.
The Mark Recchi that comes in now. No disrespect to Mark Recchi because I do think that he was a big part of that 11 Cup, but I'm looking for some younger balls.
yeah, we need younger balls. So I don't know where you're going to clip this one time, but that's a good spot.
That's where I'm clipping it.
That's great. That's actually the name of the pod. Younger balls.
I can mark it. So
that's going to be a great T-shirt. Yeah, screen the screener. Younger balls. It's going to be perfect. So, all right, I think we'll see where that goes. We're also in the NBA final season, which means that I feel like we play basketball every third month. It's not
Well, I
that
feel
bad.
like it's the same with hockey too, though. Like I
It's
thought that you
honestly,
It
guys
is
were
now. It
like
is now in the
every 2
finals.
nights.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird. It's
The
weird.
NBA schedule, I looked at it, man, and I was like, I feel like we haven't played. It was Sunday, and tonight's
it's
Tuesday.
at this
It's
time of
3
year.
days.
There should be not a night that doesn't have a championship final game. They should just alternate nights. It should go hockey, basketball, hockey, basketball, hockey, basketball.
Yeah, I also don't like how teams get to recover now. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, let's go. Like, this is a battle. This is supposed to be a war. It's not supposed to be like, oh, let's get the, no, battle. That being said, so it's been a few days, and I was prepping for today, and I was like, what am I going to ask Ty about the Pacers and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna have to ask him like how they're gonna get back into the series. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean get back into the series? Like, what are we talking about?
It's insane.
What are we talking about getting back into the series? It feels like, but tell me if I'm wrong. It felt like game 2 was different, and it felt like, okay, Oklahoma City, it felt like to me, and this is the narrative that I would present, and this is just how I'm feeling, and I think it's a little unfair to Pacers. It felt like the Pacers caught him off guard in game 1 and stole one, which they kind of did. And then we saw the real matchup in game 2, and Indiana's in real trouble. Am I wrong about that? Is there is this game? Does this series go back to Indiana and they play in Indiana and that Indiana crowd, which has been awesome, and that energy, and does that all? I'll ask you this: do you think there's momentum carries over in the NBA Finals, or is it game to game momentum? Do you think that it starts anew every game? Or do you think that right now Oklahoma City's got that confidence and is rolling going into that game, and that's going to carry over?
I'm happy that you mentioned the crowd piece at least, because I think
At least I did that, Matt.
yeah, happy you did that. Because I thought about that the other night while like watching that OKC crowd. I was like, man, it's really tough to like kind of stop a team that's on the run that plays in a small market like OKC. Like right as they were up like 15, and I know that Indiana came back in game 1, but right as they were kind of rolling, everybody's hitting their shots. SGA is just like magical in that second half. It was really tough to beat them when that crowd was just really invested. And I think that's a piece to look for with these small market teams with their crowd is right after halftime, everybody's back in their seats. You look at even Boston, New York, LA, Miami, right after halftime, you're seeing people just linger in super slow. Those seats
It's
aren't
true. It
back
drives
to
me
being
nuts.
full.
It's true.
It's annoying. Yeah, and so like you don't see them filled until the fourth. Long story short, I believe that going into Indiana will be super tough, and I think it's going to depend on OKC on like how much they've been battle tested, and they haven't. So I think this next game is going to be a lot closer. I think Indiana can potentially steal it. I don't see OKC winning both over there just because of the crowd, just because of the way that Indiana plays as well. Like we just talked about skill versus physicality. We have that in this series. Like, yeah, OKC's defense is legit, but Indiana is a lot more physical, and we saw what they did in New York. Like they turned them into like basically a bunch of bums that were afraid of getting kind of nudged around.
You bum.
A bunch of bumps. But so I think like two ways that this series could go. I think Indiana, like we mentioned on the last pod, I think Indiana takes one at home. It ends up being a 6-7 game series. If it goes to 7, Indiana wins. But it could be like last year's series where OKC kind of let Indiana get one and then was
That's what
like,
I'm
all right,
afraid of. Yeah.
we're going to take it from here. So I think similar to what you're saying with hockey, game 4 is going to be the series. I think game 3 for this is going to be the series. You're going to know exactly what Indiana team you're looking at after this game 3.
I agree. I disagree. Were you surprised that Rick Carlisle pulled his starters as early as he did in that game? This is a team that's come back from like so many. You don't care. You don't think it's a bad move.
I thought it was soft, to be honest, by Rick
Right.
Carlisle,
That's what I was like, this is your personality. This is your identity.
Exactly. And I was like, that's a little weird, but I get it. Like you had, I forget which game it was in New York. They ended up losing that game and had a shot at coming back when Aaron Nesmith got hurt. And it wasn't like crazy bad because he's obviously playing pretty well still. But like, I wonder if that was going through his mind where he's like, we're on the road. This crowd is hot. Like OKC is playing like out of their mind tonight. I think it was Aaron Wiggins had hit like 5 threes. So it's like their bench is going off. They had I think they had 5 or 6 players in double digits. So there's no real way of stopping them. And I think maybe Rick Carlisle identified those trends where when he was playing New York and they made those comebacks, there was probably a couple people in double digits. Same with that game one, only a few people in double digits. So you're able to come back from that if their bench is cold. Their bench was hot. So I'm okay with them pulling it just to get them ready for Indiana. But I also don't like them being basically 3.5 days of not playing real basketball. So we'll see. Like sitting them for that long is a little crazy.
I thought it was surprising to me. I also think that OKC's coach is doing a great job with his timeouts and stemming Indiana runs. You saw at the end of the first half, I think OKC had pulled away to like 20. And then Indiana was like, it got it down to 12 very quickly. They got it down to 12. They went on this like little run. All of a sudden it's a 12-point game and you're looking up like, oh, here we go again. Timeout. And then 2 minutes later, the lead was back up to 19. I think when you look at SGA and you look at the way they're using timeouts, because SGA is, dude, he's just cold. He's just a cold dude.
A dog.
He is. Again, you got to watch Vasillo. You still haven't watched Vasillo, I'm sure.
I know. I got to.
He's like visually, you want to watch Anthony Edwards, but when you watch SGA, you're like, oh my God, those are he understands angles and where he needs to be, how to get there, how to set up his teammates. He's just methodical. He's an assassin. He knows exactly how to do whatever he needs to do to get a bucket, whether it's for him or for a teammate. And like I honestly thought, I knew he was good. I mean, I knew he won the MVP and I knew all these things about him and I'd kind of watched. I don't think I realized how good he is. I still don't think he can be the face of the league.
I don't think he can either because, this is like a really awful take on it.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
I think so. This is what I kind of want to work into.
Like
he's an international player. I don't think it matters that it's Canada. He plays like an international player. He plays like a European player, in my opinion.
He does.
Which is, by the way, for me, that's a compliment. That actually is a compliment because these guys have gotten so. I don't want to cut you off, but I do have this theory that when, Jordan made basketball really a global thing. Bird and Magic saved the NBA. Jordan made basketball a global phenomenon. And all of these European leagues and all these guys started playing basketball in Europe, and they started playing it on based on the fundamentals and working on skills and all of that stuff and building up. And that's now we're talking Jordan was in the 80s, right? 90s too, but 80s, whatever. So now we're talking, that's like 30 years ago. So now all those programs now in Europe are not only these kids working on fundamentals and skills, but they're catching up physically, and they're catching up in terms of how talented they are physically. These guys can jump and run and fast and strong and all of these things. They also play in professional leagues earlier. So you see Luka when he's like 17 or 18 playing against 35-year-old dudes that are smoking cigarettes during timeouts and just beating the crap out of them. You know what I mean? And when all of that adds up to like the announcement that there was going to be an all-star game between the international players and the American players, and you've already said it, Ty. You've already said it. That American team's going to struggle, man. Right? Am I wrong?
You're telling me that lineup, I'm trying to think of the fifth, but you're basically telling me that lineup would include four players who arguably could be in MVP contention next year. Is SGA, Jokic, Giannis, and Luka. So that's four.
What about Wemby?
That's what I'm saying. 5. Boom. You have 5 right there.
Now you got Wemby too, man.
The U.S. guys, there's a bunch of U.S. guys we could toss on there, and it would be good. But I think
how many of the U.S. guys on that team are under 28 or under 30?
Not a lot, because the NBA can't just let it go that they're old. But the piece that I was going to say is with the world versus the U.S. is we see it when we go and play in the Olympics. We see a lot of, we see it in our youth programs as well. It's like extremely unfortunate. You and Steve and I talk about it all the time with AAU. But you'll see this Team World team probably have 3 days of practice and look like they've been playing together for 2 years. You'll see this Team USA play together for 3 days and still look like individual basketball, where we're looking at Anthony Edwards. Okay, he's a Timberwolf. We'll see Jaylen Brown out there. He's a Celtic. Like, we'll see that separation from player to player. Meanwhile, those 5 I just listed, someone's going to be like, yo, you got this. And it might be Luka. But then Jokic is like, I'll just chill in the paint and kick it to you guys. I'll grab a couple rebounds. And Wemby's like, I'm the young buck. I'm learning from you guys. Like, the team world in the international game is a lot more focused on the game of basketball rather than brand. And I think that's what the NBA as a whole is afraid of, is they're not able to take like I think of it as like tiers. So you have like a tier at the top that's going to be all 5 of those players, to be honest. But we haven't broken through to the LeBrons and the MJs where it's the face of the NBA, because the NBA is afraid of those dudes playing a different game of basketball, breaking through that. They're almost waiting for the Anthony Edwards to be here with them to then break through by winning a championship. So it's like embarrassing for the NBA. I think just make an international guy the face of the league. Like, they're clearly the better brand of basketball and a better player in the league. It's honestly embarrassing from Adam Silver. Calling him out.
But here's the thing that the NBA has done is they've created that one-on-one culture, the brand. So like, it's hard to make a player like SGA or Jokic the face of your league, because they're not going to go up and posterize anyone. That's
Right.
what they want. They want Anthony
Right.
Edwards, who, by the way, I'm here for that too. Like, I want to see. I love watching Anthony Edwards elevate.
But
Like,
that's a
I'm
bad brand of
all about it.
basketball, though.
It's not.
But I think
it's not-
that's also where the NBA is afraid of, is they've built this up of this 1v1 type league. Like, honestly, LeBron was perfect. Like, the most perfect. I mean, we see the recipe from MJ to LeBron and even Kobe before that. But they're so afraid of that turning into more team basketball, where that run that LeBron had in Cleveland, where he made that comeback against the Warriors, was basically him, and then he had Robin and Kyrie, but it's basically just him. Like, That's what the NBA wants so bad, but that's not how you win basketball anymore. Like, you cannot do that anymore. It is based off of spending the whole entire cap to get an amazing team for 1 year. And that's how you win it now.
That's
and
crazy.
maybe SGA changes that, but he's Canadian.
I think there's a level of competition issue as well, because when you talk about Magic, Bird, MJ, LeBron, all of those guys wanted to be Kobe. They wanted to be the greatest of all time. And they would make up stuff to get pissed off about, so they motivated them. And I feel like today's basketball players are not motivated by that. They're motivated by, what's my Q score? Am I going to get a shoe deal? It's not about getting a championship. Sure, they want to win championships because they're kind of going hand in hand, but it's not for MJ and those guys. It was championships. I want to win rings. That's what I want. And nowadays, I don't think that level of, sure, they want to win, but not like at that level that Kobe and those guys did. And that's what differentiated them.
I have just real quick, I have an add-on for that, because this is something that does piss me off a lot, is the shoe deal, for example.
I need that
Everybody
list of things that piss you off a lot.
It would be a pretty short list, I won't lie. I'm a pretty chill guy. But
I'm a pretty chill guy.
pretty chill guy. But like, shoe deals, like, everybody thinks that they should have a shoe deal now, right as they come into the league. And I don't understand why we're having bottom tier players get, like, I'm just going to use them as an example. De'Aaron Fox. Matt, have you ever watched watched a game, been like, I'm going to watch De'Aaron Fox? No. Steve, have you ever done that? No. Like,
actually, I loved De'Aaron Fox when he was with Sacramento.
Great player, but he doesn't
I like watching him.
He has a shoe deal.
I have a counter.
It's actually marketed.
Here's
the thing. Now with that, everybody thinks that they deserve a shoe deal, and everybody thinks that they believe that they deserve this specific spotlight. When it was back in the day with Bird and Magic and Kobe and MJ, and even LeBron when he was first starting out, like, those dudes had to earn the shoe. Like, a shoe deal was a different level. You play 2K, this is a dumb take, but you used to play 2K, like 2K12, for example. You had to play a specific amount of games. You had to make a specific amount of points.
Yeah.
You had to do X, like, grade for your team to get that shoe deal. Now, if you play 2K now, you can sign with Nike right as you get drafted. Like, it just goes to show the evolution of the game.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's embarrassing.
They weren't giving those shoe deals to the young balls. You know, that was not a thing back then. Here's my
And they're doing
counterpoint to
that
this.
now, and it takes the competitive piece away where we're not getting the guy that we want to play at that level because there's no reason for them to try to get to that level because there's no real like reward for that.
That's true. I will float this. Okay. I think this argument sometimes gets taken out of context for important reason. I think that can we agree that Michael Jordan was maybe the most competitive athlete of all time? I mean, he's right up there, right?
Yeah.
When Michael Jordan came out of North Carolina, there was no like he changed the shoe game. Okay.
Yes.
So if we know that he changed the shoe game, then we know that there wasn't the market that there is now, right? We know that there was no social media. We know that there was no like branding of players. He was the first player that was branded for good reason. He was so unique and special, and I love Jordan. If Michael Jordan is born in 2002 and is playing basketball now, I would argue that he's still the same competitive dude. And some of these guys are just maybe not as competitive, but are super competitors. But they're just not competing for what we wanted them to compete for. And you know what? I don't know if I necessarily have a problem. They're competing for money. They're competing for the brand.
That's fair.
And you can say all you want to say about like, well, I wished we could go back to the golden age of it and all of that time. And I get that. I love that. But if your goal in life is to make the most money that you can make for yourself and your family and put them in a great spot, I can't hate these guys for doing that. I can't hate dudes for going out and shoe deals.
I don't
hate that. What does get frustrating to me is when you see a guy, and right or wrong, maybe I'm wrong because I don't know everything that went on, but when you see a guy like Luka, who doesn't seem to be putting everything that he could be putting into it to realize what kind of a player he could be, is sad because he could be so freaking good, and he is so freaking good. That like you're like, dude, dedicate yourself to this. Like you already have the money in the shoe deal and all that. Like it just feels like, and I used to hate when people say this. Like if I had your height, dude, I would be on the Patriots right now. I would be the best player ever. But like when you look at Luka, you're like, dude, if I had your talent, man, like you just feel like you're like, man, come on, dude, like get there.
But I feel like that's a product of the
nuts.
NBA. Like
you think that
like
Luka's a product of the NBA? That kind of behavior is the product. I think that's a product.
I think so.
It's who you are sometimes.
It could be, but at the same time, like with the product of the NBA, we see a lot of players just flatline. We see a lot of players that come in hot and flatline. Like from the same draft, Trae Young. Like he's in a bad situation in Atlanta, but I don't think he really cares about going to that next level. I think there's a lot of players like that came in hot and then just flatline. I like the kind of take with Luka, though, because what I was going to say is if Jordan was born in 2002 and he was coming out of the draft, I think he would be competitive. I don't think he'd be that competitive. And it's just because of the way that youth basketball is in the U.S. now, where you literally are 10 years old and you have videos of yourself online and on Instagram. Like, you didn't really have to prove yourself. Like, I remember even when I was growing up, like, I think middle school is when like Instagram, social media started to come out, but like it was always about like letting your game talk. I don't think it's that way anymore. I think kids are just clipping themselves of their best games and their best plays. Baby Gronk is a great example.
He is the biggest symptom of a larger problem that I see with youth sports. Or that like, symptom or like, whatever you would say. Like it pops out of like, this is what's going on. This is bad.
And it's almost like the biggest piece, like we obviously have highlights, and highlights are going to showcase obviously your best plays, but we're seeing even more refined in basketball where it's like one-on-ones. And then even now we have the overtime league for high schoolers where they're not going to college. And that is just a 1v1 league. And we're just seeing clips like that for these players. And we've seen some good players come out, like Asar Thompson and his brother are good in the NBA, but not a lot of players are moving up to that next level anymore and having that competitive spirit. Like that's why the NBA Finals is boring. The playoffs are boring. Like there's no competition at all. That's why I think SGA is the good brand and a good face of the league, because he started in LA, and this goes back to the brand of the NBA and how bad they are. He started in LA for the Clippers. The Clippers then trade him for a washed post-injury Paul George in OKC. And OKC ends up with a ton of draft picks and the future MVP who will lead them to the NBA Finals. So
You're
it's a
what
mess. I hate the NBA.
when
It pisses me off.
when the finals are over, you're gonna explain to us why this was the Paul George. I know people have written about it. I've seen it. You're gonna explain to the
I keep
pod
seeing it. Yeah.
why this is the Paul George championship. You're gonna have to do that. All right. I don't. I will push back a little. Pushback. We love the pushback. We need a pushback button.
Yeah.
Pushback.
Pushback. I don't think there's no competition. Like my guy Nemhart gets after it, man. Like Nesmith gets after it. There are guys that are
Those guys are
competing out
going
there.
to though, but I'm talking stars. Stars get to the level where they're a star and they flatline.
That
They're
actually is
just
true.
chilling.
Well,
It
it's
is.
also because they were told they were stars at 12 years old. So they've been a star for
That's
10
what- yeah,
years.
that's
And
what
they're
he's
like,
saying,
what else
yeah.
do I need to do?
Yeah.
I'm already a star. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. And I think
Right.
that's like Michael Jordan didn't make his varsity basketball team till sophomore year. And he used that as motivation for, because he didn't have AAU like they have AAU now. So
Right.
I think that you're right about the basketball programs while they're younger are sapping their level of competition.
100%.
So to clarify, your point is more about the stars not being dogs. Like the stars aren't guys who are like going to get after it.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna
Okay,
look.
that clarifies
I'm
it
not
for me.
gonna-
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Long answer to get to that point, but that's where like when people are like, they come at Tatum for example, and they're like, he doesn't have that showcase that like dog mentality. Nobody does. Like across, like Jokic for example.
I think you're right. Yeah,
Was at the top of his game. He wins the finals, and they're like, "Aren't you happy? There's a parade," and he's like, "There's a parade. I want to go hang out with my horses." Like.
yeah.
There's just this weird element in the NBA where the finals don't really matter and all they really care about is their own personal brand. And it's getting kind of embarrassing. Like Bird, for example, cared about the 3-point competition. I think that was the first year they had it, actually.
Bird cared about every competition, man.
Yeah.
But so
He
did
did.
Jordan, so did
So
Kobe,
did Magic did.
Yeah, and so did honestly, like just to show a little bit more besides of that group, like even Dirk Nowitzki cared about that. Like that's another
Yeah.
European player, but like that dude was gritty. Like the talk that he had about Miami, like talking trash about him when Dirk was sick and they're like making fun of him. And then Dirk comes out and balls on him because he's like, screw these guys. Like I don't see that in the NBA anymore.
I will say the one star that, because I'm trying to go through my mind about the star, like Dwayne Wade was a dog. I mean, he
Yeah.
was,
He was
he
a
comes
dog.
across as a nice guy. He was a dog, dude. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of a current star, and you know who like comes to mind as the most likely, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is Giannis. I think Giannis actually cares, man. And
Oh yeah, he does.
Some of the stuff that he does drives me crazy with the way he like taunts guys and then acts like, oh, I'm not really doing anything. All that, like he does, he's got that in him. He's got that.
But I'm
like,
okay with that. I
No, I
feel like
love
he's
that.
nudging dudes. Like I think he's
I
nudging
love
dudes
that.
to be like, care. Like you should care.
Yeah,
like
in fairness, we're talking about superstars right now, and I think you're making a great point. The guys who are the number one and really number two players on their teams, who are the guys that you think of are going to get in a street fight if like it comes down to it? And you know, like I don't love Giannis, but you could say that about Giannis. You could say that he would, when things are starting to go sideways, he'll fight. So that's interesting. Also, all right,
Al Horford versus Giannis was great. They
Awesome.
both were street
Awesome.
fighting.
yes, and he was the number one player on their team. He wasn't backing down. We're climbing to an hour here. I was afraid we weren't going to get there in our first remote one. It was a little touchy in the beginning. The energy, I had to try to bring the energy. I don't know how good we did. That said, I just want to thank you guys. I know Father's Day is until this weekend. I really appreciate you guys giving me my Father's Day gift a little early. Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. Really, I can't thank you enough.
I prayed every
What
night
a
for you,
d-
Steve.
Going forward, this pod's going to be 75% Aaron Rodgers updates and 25% of
man.
whatever these two can squeeze in. I am upset that George Pickens is gone, but DK Metcalf is mercurial enough that that'll be good too. That'll be interesting. I can't wait. Like I know I'm not going to bring it up again. We'll leave it alone until the season starts rolling. But it's going to give us something. Even if he does great, it's going to be something to talk about.
I have a question for you, actually, especially with
Yeah.
the draft just happening. You've covered him a lot. Does this help or hurt Caleb Johnson? That's his name, Caleb Johnson, the Iowa running back that now is with
Yes.
Pittsburgh? Does that
Has to
hurt
help.
him?
Has
Do
to
you think
help.
it helps him?
Yeah,
Okay, because he's a
Aaron
little bit
Rodgers-
of a receiving back, right?
No, he is a big downhill runner. He can catch the ball a little bit. He's okay catching the ball, and he can make some stuff after the catch. But I wouldn't call him a receiving back. He's a what do you call him? A bell cow back. Like he's gonna get a lot of touches and a lot of carries. But Aaron Rodgers is a very good play action quarterback. And with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball downfield with DK Metcalf, you're gonna have to respect that over the top stuff. So that's gonna help him.
I was curious because the Jets had like Breece Hall, and Breece Hall.
Aaron Rodgers can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. Do you not remember the Jets when he couldn't hit anybody? This is an unmitigated disaster. He's going to get hurt in the first 2 games, and it's a moot point.
That's a great point. He can't.
I cannot believe that I'm going to have to defend Aaron Rodgers to you guys. If Mike Williams runs 3 yards inside the rail there like he's supposed to, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl, brother. Like Mike Williams couldn't run the right route. They had to run him out of town and get Devontae Adams in, and Aaron Rodgers was throwing hospital balls to him. So let's just say, like, I think you're underselling the weak supporting cast. You know, a roster that looked like it was going to go to a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers really hurt him last year with the Jets. And look, yeah, that's a weak division. I mean, who do they have to play, right? Cincinnati? Who cares? Cleveland? You hear what Myles Garrett said?
No.
It's great.
No.
It's a great opportunity to put him in the graveyard. Oh,
like that
oh
is
no!
terrifying.
Yeah,
And then
dude,
Baltimore too.
Myles Garrett is I think he's one of the coolest dudes in the league. You ever see there's a clip where it might have been the Colts played the Browns late in the year. I don't know who it was, but it was a young offensive tackle. It was a rookie offensive tackle. And after the game, he went up to Myles Garrett and he was like, man, I don't even feel like I belong in this league like right now going against you. And Myles Garrett was like, dude, you're here. You're here. You belong. And then like exchanged jerseys and he like kind of like pumped him up a little bit. And I was like, dude, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that he did that.
Is Myles Garrett the Happy Gilmore of football, though? He's the only player to try kill somebody with his helmet.
Okay, I will tell you this. He reportedly has a reputation for wearing certain garments in the locker room to highlight certain features that, have you guys heard this?
No.
Okay, I don't know how far I can go with this.
Is he all about younger balls?
Careful about looking it up. He's all about outlines. I will say he's a big outline guy.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So, like along the lines of Spinal Tap and the the foil wrapped cucumber in the pants.
Right, and you're like, is he doing that on purpose or could be on purpose? Anyways, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to play anyone in that division. I mean, there's Cincinnati, Cleveland, and then Baltimore.
He's got to play Shador.
He's got to play Baltimore.
Shador might have a better year than him.
Okay, are we doing this? You think Shador's gonna start?
I can't believe you guys haven't brought up AR and his shoulder injury.
Matt, I mean, listen, you want to talk about it? I don't listen.
AR might be a wide receiver next week.
AR should be cut. just be done with it.
This is where, if Gould was on this pod right now, he would say, I'm adopted. Do you want to talk about that too? Because, like, why do you really want to, like, I saw it. You know what, Matt? How do you feel about it?
I'm annoyed.
Well, here's the other annoying part of it. This is what I saw coupled with that I think it was on ESPN. It was the Anthony Richardson's thing. And then there was a video clip of why Daniel Jones, the odds-on favorite to win comeback player of the year.
Hey, if I can get Kirk Cousins 2.0 out of Daniel Jones, I'm all in. Great. Awesome.
Yeah. But that means Anthony Richardson didn't work out. I will tell you this. I think next year is going to be a good year to get a quarterback, man. If the Colts, if this is a year to go south.
The problem is the AFC South is abysmal this year. And so there's no way that we can tank enough to be worse than them.
Imagine another Manning in Indianapolis.
Oh God, I would love it.
They'll go crazy.
Then they trade for Marvin Harrison Jr. and all of a sudden it's we're all good.
He could end up like a Manning. Or do you think he would go straight Manning?
Can I know you hit the record button. Is there any way to cut you off? Is there any way to like shut you down, dude? What do you mean? Is he gonna write a Manning on his jersey?
Yeah, to basically separate from the legacy of Peyton, where instead of like having just Manning and Manning, he goes A period Manning.
Do you think Arch Manning
from the legacy?
Do you think Arch Manning is Peyton Manning's son?
But they have the same last name.
So does Eli
the same
Manning.
bloodline.
Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. So should he separate himself from Eli Manning? His grandfather
Eli
was a
had
Hall of
E.
Fame
Manning.
quarterback. No,
that was the old days. They were playing plumbers.
Eli Manning does not have E. Manning on his jersey.
Because they played in the same.
Find me a picture right now. Send me a picture. I'm going to ask Matt something right now. If you get it on your phone and hold it up to the screen, there is no way I can see Eli
He's
Manning.
He's going to chat GPT it and AI it.
Do not do that. I am gullible. I will buy that. Do not do that. On a more serious note, Matt, I read that it's official that the control of the team has been now transferred to the daughters of Jim Irsay. I don't know the daughters' names. Are you optimistic? 1, and 2, what is the first steps that you hope they take?
Well, they fired Morocco Brown, who was one of the scouts. He was one of the head scouts that really loved AR and really was a champion for AR behind the scenes. This is all
not a good
from what I've read.
Not
online.
a good sign.
Damn, so they're done with AR then.
It kind of like that's what the tea leaves, or if you want to read the tea leaves, that's what they're leaning towards. Which, can you blame him? He's played 15 of 34 games and been 50% accurate, and can't stay healthy. So if the best ability is availability, right, Steve?
That is true, Matt. That is true.
But I think I'm okay with it. Like we talked about Jim Irsay, and really having two different personalities. Like as a human, he was awesome. As an owner, he was frustrating. Yeah, as an owner, he was frustrating. His legacy
as a human being is incredible. It's in like I couldn't believe the stuff that I was reading. His legacy as an owner, not quite at not nearly that level.
So he has 3 daughters, and the one that's the CEO is the one that has been a part of the organization since 2012. Like
I love
doing the scouting, she sits on the sidelines and listens to the plays and asks questions and things like that. So I'm really encouraged by that. This is not somebody who is like, oh, yay, I have a new toy in a football. Like she seems like she really wants to be in it and learn about it. And I'm all about that. Awesome. And I hope that you have a voice, and I hope that you have an opinion, and I hope it's the right opinion. And then the other 2 daughters, one's going to be in charge of like the Colts Foundation and PR and stuff like that. And I forget what the third daughter is going to do. But I think I like the way that this is laying out, and out of all of the scenarios, this is probably one of the better ones that you could hope for.
That's good. Ty, I don't see your phone. Dude, right? There's no way.
I might have lied.
Did you lie, or I could see you lying just to fire me up? Did you think maybe that was the case?
I thought it was a maybe.
Oh my God, dude, that's so bad. E. Manning.
I'm kidding. It might be E. Manning because there's another Manning in the league, but
I thought you were trying to troll me with him writing A. Manning, as in to say I'm A. Manning. I was like, what are we doing here, dude? Like, what is this?
As opposed to the Manning?
Am I like I was
Manning?
Yes, I was scrambled because I was like, I know I make a lot of bad dad jokes. It's like, is that what's happening here? I don't even understand. Like, that's that bad. All right, listen.
Wait, we have the U.S. Open this weekend. Who you got? Ty.
Rory, obviously, he's on a roll.
Yep, missed that cut last week by 12 strokes.
Ty got mad at me just there. He's like, is he serious? Is he serious about this Rory crap?
What the hell, bro?
I know he's Irish, but get over it, dude.
But I have Bryson. I cause especially with that.
How can you have anyone other than Scotty Scheffler, man? How can you have anyone other than
him? Hold on. My biggest reason is
I like Bryson
when he plays. And with this course,
wait, what happens when he plays?
He's calculated. And when he plays, he drives the ball the farthest, and this is a very long course, especially the 8th hole is like a 200 and something par 3. So that's why, or it might be more than that. Anyways, super long course. So I'm going with a dude who can hit the ball the farthest and have somewhat control of hitting the ball the farthest. The biggest thing is that is a rough. If someone is going to end up in the rough, they're absolutely screwed. And I think Bryson is going to do a better job than other people of that. So,
do you have your
so I got.
do you have DraftKings right there? Can you find out what the odds are?
It was plus 700 for Bryson, and it was plus 250 for Scotty.
Plus 250?
Yeah, he's a favorite. Yeah,
I thought it would be actually. Yeah, no, I thought that number would actually be lower. I thought that number would be.
it's plus 275 for Scotty, plus 750 for Bryson. John Rahm is 3 plus 1200, tied with Rory, and then fifth is Xander for plus 2200.
I'm surprised, Roy.
So,
Who do you got, Matt?
I think it's Scotty's to lose.
Yes.
But I think watch out for Colin Morikawa because he's really accurate off the tee and he can putt.
it's my guy.
Hold on. Why is it important that you're accurate off the tee for this one, guys?
Because that rough.
You were telling me about the
That
rough,
rough.
right?
5 inches.
That rough.
They said it was 5 inches deep.
That's a lot.
Ty loves putting from the rough.
I think a sneaky one is Sepp Straka. He's been on a roll lately and been placing very well, and so I think that he could be. I put money on him to win because it was like plus 3,000 or something. So you got to take your long shots on this.
But
I would bet Rory to miss the cut though. I would bet that.
Yeah, dude, he's falling apart, huh?
Well, he can't drive the ball right now. If he can't drive the ball, forget it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But did you consider how calculating Bryson is?
Well, I did not. I'm not as high on Bryson, but I'm also biased against Bryson. So
I think
so is Tyler, but in the exact opposite direction, dude.
With the past few tournaments that we've seen him play in, he's like right there, about to break that next level. So I feel like this is his opportunity to do that, where the course favors his gameplay a little bit more. So that's where I took a leap for it.
You actually did a little research on how long the course was, and that part I buy.
I kept seeing it on TikTok. I won't lie because people won't stop talking about how far that par 3 is. I'll get you the exact numbers, but it's the 8th hole.
4 holes in 4 rounds out of 72.
Murders. Yeah. What are we doing here? Murders the ball though. He does murder the ball.
It is 289 yards for a par 3. So you have to try to drive the green.
That's just stupid.
It's ridiculous. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's at least for me. If I'm taking anybody on that list, I'm taking Bryson to try to get on the green in 1 and have a shot at getting a birdie.
How many guys will drive that?
They all can drive it.
I think they all can drive it. But
it's just a question: can they make the ball stick on the green? Right.
Right.
Because you have no ball control when you're hitting that far.
I think like minimum 280 for most of those dudes, anyways. Like I think it's like 270, 280 minimum.
That's crazy to me. That's awesome.
But that's tough. It's a par 3, so it's like you really have to stick it.
Well, it's going to be really boring golf this weekend because it's going to be a lot of the guys in the rough. Now it's just going to chip out of the rough into the fairway and hopefully get up and down from 180 out.
They need a 7-wood. It's that bad, huh? It's like
I forget who it was, but if you go on X,
I don't even know where's the course. Where is it?
It's Oakmont outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, good pod, boys. We got some exciting stuff coming up. I don't know. We had a mystery guest in the next couple of weeks. We're not going to give that away right now, but we are excited about it. This was our first virtual one. We're going to be able to do. Matt's going to be one of the reasons we did this was Matt's going to be on the road for a couple of these, at least one of them, maybe a couple.
Yep.
I'm actually excited to see how the social media clips come out of this. All that stuff's good. Very interested. You could find us again on YouTube, on Screen the Screener channels. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Spotify, Screen the Screener, the pod. Hit I
sent it to all my Pigeons buddies, so we may have a spike of interest.
We got 5 new followers yesterday.
Did we really? Are you guys on? What's your handle on X, Ty? Do you know what it is? I hope it's really something embarrassing, dude. You know when you have someone ask you about that email and you're like bigboob69@gmail.com? Is it? What are you on X?
Me or the pod?
Well, what's the? I guess you and the pod. Tell both.
The pod is screen_screener. Mine is Ty Bestman 14.
You want those hot takes? Go to Ty Bestman 14, man. And Matt, what are you on?
Yeah, that one got some takes.
I was Buckminster 19, but I haven't been on X in years.
Oh, we got to get Matt back on X. I'm at YouGoodMensch on X and on Instagram. I got to be better about putting stuff on there, but we are excited. There's a couple things coming up. There's another thing that we're thinking about doing was our first live pod. So we got that to look forward to, but we're going to try and do some different things. There's
going to be the arena pod too.
Oh, Matt, listen, we're not ready to unveil that. Listen, the other 2 things I'm excited about, I am giddy about what Matt is referring to as the arena pod, which I think is a little misleading. But it's going to be, if only in my mind, amazing. No one else might love this. I am going to have the best time of my life. It is going to be a great day. Ty, thoughts?
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. And we're going to end on that note. So we'll see you guys next.
Happy Father's Day, boys.
Happy Father's Day. We'll see you next week.
Happy Father's Day.